Hi, hello, welcome. It's Pip here from queenpipcards.com. Today this is your Stampin Blends class for July. So in the post you should have received your posted for you stamp set and then packets in envelopes of various card pieces. Okay, some of them have got like punched out pieces in, so try not to lose them from each one, but your PDF does have all the pictures so you can sort that out afterwards. You should also have received some gems, some butterfly gems, and you'll also have some pieces of ribbon in your various packs. So the colours did not come with the blends kit this time because this was about working with a stamp set, so it's up to you really which ones you want to use, but I'm going to show you the ones that I've got. So I have two Granny Apple Green, so my Granny Apple Green combo. You could use Old Olive, would work just as well. Or even mint macaron, they would work too. I have So Saffron, but you could also use Daffodil Delight. I have Pool Party. You could use Bermuda Bay, but you'd have to use the very light version, I would suggest. But you could also use maybe Balmy Blue or, well, Seaside Spray is the other colour that I'm using as well. So Seaside Spray, Pool Party, those are the two blues I'm using. And then I've just got the Rococo Light. You could use the Rococo Dark if you prefer. I just decided to use the light version. And if you don't have Rococo Rose, then don't panic. You could use any of the pinks, to be honest. Any of them will work fine. So those are kind of the colours that I'm going to be working with. This is the stamp set that we're going to be working with, and obviously you're going to need your Memento ink pad to go with that. So the first card I want to pull out is the one that has a Seaside Spray base, and inside you have a punched postage note. Now, for those of you who upgraded and got the bundle, so you also got the punch that goes with this, yours is just a piece of blue cardstock, so you can punch your own, because it's always nice to punch your own. You'll have a piece of Blushing Bride piece of cardstock, 10 by 14.4, and you'll have an unembossed, a piece of plain white paper. First thing I want you to do is run it through an embossing folder, your favourite embossing folder. This is the card that we're going to be making. And on this card, hopefully you can see, yep, there we go, I used the new Tasteful Textile embossing folder on this one, but I thought I'd try something different, so I've actually run this one through the Pinewood Planks one, and actually that's the right way round, but I quite like it that way too, so I think I'm going to go with the deboss side just to be different. Okay, and you'll have a piece of this Seaside Spray ribbon. I just haven't cut mine off the reel because I can do that now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do to make this card is we're going to stamp our love sentiment. Now, I know some of you don't send lots of lovey-dovey cards, but I think this is a nice one, and if you just use it on its own like this, it doesn't really have to be for a guy. It could be just, you know, love on your birthday, send it to a friend. Love that you've got married, send it to somebody who's getting married. You know, it could be anything because it's quite simple in terms of how it's been just stamped like that with nothing else. Now I'm going to stand up because I can't see. I need to be above. Here we go. So obviously if you have just a piece of cardstock, you can, oh, these wheels on this chair, you can just stamp it and then punch it, but I wanted to show you that it is possible to do if you had it sent to you like that. Now this is where we're going to use the Rococo Rose Light, and I wanted to show you that you can add different colours to a different colour cardstock, because this is, we've coloured in cardstock before, but generally it's been with the card colour that we're using. So I wanted to show you this, that you can do just this, and it does show. It's not as dark as it normally is. Not dark, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's not so exact to the colouring maybe of the ink pad, but that's because you're colouring it onto a blue background. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. You also will have less flow, so you'll have less blendability with these, but you can build up colour and depth because it soaks in quite quickly, but you can still build up some depth of colour. So I'm just popping on some dark here where it will be dark in the shadows, like so. There we go. Okay, and then you can add a bit more light if you wish. Okay, so that's Seaside Spray on Seaside Spray. If you don't have Seaside Spray, then you might want to leave it blank depending on how your other colours will go with it. I think actually Balmy Blue would look alright with it. It's just, but some of the darker colours will be very dark, so just beware. Then I've got my light Granny Apple Green. I'm just sweeping that over the leaf very gently. So remember, long sweeping strokes with this one so we don't damage the tip too badly. They will go soft over time, that's just normal, so don't worry about that. Then I'm using the dark Granny Apple Green to, oh, missed a leaf. I tend to do this on these ones. To just do the veins. It just makes it stand out just a little bit darker. And to do the leaves on the, they're not leaves, they're sepals, whatever they are, on the ends of the leaves. There we go. And then I'm going to use the little one for this, I think. It's a bit small. There we go. So that's the blending on that one. Really quick and easy. Most of these are quite quick and easy because they're nice, quite, well, all of them are easy to colour. Okay, there's nothing tricky about it, but I've done some different kind of layouts and stuff like that to try and add a little bit extra zhuzh to them, because they are quite small stamps, but I wanted you to see that you could use them on big layers just as easily as you do on the small layers. Get that in the right place, Pip. That's a little bit high. Come on. It's because I've embossed it, it's shrunk. There we go. So it was not quite as, oh, it's just done it the same way. There we go. Let's have a look, see which way round I want that to be. Yeah, that way, I think that'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm just going to attach my ribbon at the back. Right, pop this on and pull that around the back. There we go. Now I actually did use Tranquil Tide, no I didn't, I used Rococo Rose butterflies on this one. I thought, yeah, there's one of them I did, I thought. Maybe not. But you could use, if you wanted to, if you were doing this again and you were using oranges and stuff, the Tranquil Tide butterflies would look great with this. So pop this down. There we go. Now this is quite a thick card, and sorry, not a thick card, a thick ribbon. So because it's a thick ribbon, we need to just make sure that we're not putting dimensionals on top of the ribbon and on top of the cardstock. So we're just going to dimensional both ends. See here, it's come through a little bit, but not as much as normal. And that's because obviously you're putting it onto cardstock. You do also, I recommend, use a glue dot just underneath here, where you're going to put your little postage stamp over the top, just purely to hold the ribbon down, stop it flapping around too much. Okay, so now with dimensionals, and again you can use either size, whichever you want. I'm just going to use little ones. They're just a tad thinner, and so they're more likely to be, they're more like the size, the depth of the ribbon. But you can use whichever you have, it makes no difference. They both sit equally well. That one used big dimensionals, this one's using little ones, so you'll be able to see the difference. Oh, come on. There's just more to peel with this one. There we go. And then I just stuck that sort of equidistant from the top to the bottom to the sides, like so. And then to finish, oh come along, get everywhere these things. To finish, I used my little butterflies. So you've got a whole strip of 3, I think I gave you 3 or 4, something like that, can't remember now. It went out in the post. So I used a little blue one just about here-ish, and then a Rococo Rose one. I think I used a little one. I'm going to move this one a little bit higher up, actually, move it a bit higher, and then a big one down here, I think. Now I've put mine a little bit closer down, so I might just bring my little, could put it on the, I could actually put it on top of the actual leaf, but it will make it a little higher to go in the post. I think just down there is fine. So that's the 2 with the 2 different embossing folders, okay, and that's with it stamped and then inked up on the beautiful Seaside Spray, and I think it looks lovely. I added a little bit more dark on this new one to the one I did before, and you see how it fades, so it sort of soaks into the cardstock, so it's not quite as vibrant as if it's on Whisper White, but still just as lovely. Okay, so that's card number 1. Card number 2. Where should we go for card number 2? Let's do card number 2. So you need your next Seaside Spray piece, okay, and this comes with piece of Granny Apple Green, piece of Whisper White, and then I think I punched you your, I can't remember if I punched you your classic label punches or not. I might have left it not in case you didn't have a classic label but you were going to use something else. I can't remember. I thought I did, but anyway, we'll just see. Now, Just a Note is one of the sentiments that comes from the set, and I think it's a lovely set for its sentiments because they're all kind of like just normal, if you know what I mean. You have got Sending Love Your Way, but I still think that's okay because you can send your love your way for a birthday, or just for somebody who's just, you know, had a loss or whatever in the family, so that's still okay. We're going to pop those, so just pop that onto your Whisper White strip, put that aside for a second because I want to show you how we do these. So next up we're using this image, which has got all these beautiful gorgeous flowers. I mean they look like, the reason why I coloured them blue is because I have flowers like this outside my front door, and they kind of creep along the ground and they're growing up my fence line, and they're just so pretty. So that's why I coloured them blue, because they're blue on my outside of my door. Now I've done all of my stamping here on the left hand side of the card. You could centralise it if you wanted, but I didn't want you to panic about making everything central, so I did it purposefully to the left hand side, but also because that's quite pleasing on the eye. So you start from this side and you're going to pop one down there. You don't have to be perfect with getting this sort of straight, okay. I have made that slightly more this way. I think I actually stamped it a little bit more this way, but that doesn't matter. We'll cope with that. Yeah, I think I did it more like this. Yes, that's much more like what, see, I was talking while I was doing it. This is how I did it, like this. So it's in a cross shape, but that's okay, we'll survive. It just means that this leaf is going to overlock, yes, like that, but that's all right, that doesn't actually look that bad, so we'll cope. But I did them all like that so that the greenery was top and bottom and side to side. It's just this one, the greenery should have been over there a little bit more, but that's okay, we can survive. I could actually turn it around and put it that way, but I actually really like it this way. So next thing you need, of course, is a piece of grid paper, and then I started this with Seaside Spray again, so we're still on the Seaside Spray, and this comes in, there's a lot of colouring, so I'm not necessarily going to colour all of it, okay. What I want you to do is I want you to pick a particular part of the flower, and then those, every alternate one of those is going to be light, and then every alternate one of the other one is going to be dark. you see what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're not exactly perfect on all of them, or you're not exactly the same on all of them. And I wouldn't worry about colouring it in and, what's the word I'm looking for? Blending at this point. I'm just laying down a line of colour. Okay, and then on the back of the flower, this one that's facing away from us, we're just going to do the whole thing in pale. Okay, now then we're going to go back in and we're going to darken those alternate ones that we did. Okay, because they do have these stripy things kind of going on these flowers. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back in and lighten the whole thing up again, leaving just the tips as they were. Okay, so as it dries it will lighten up. And then I did a bit of dark where this dark backing is, and I went dark on all these little kinky bits. They're not kinky bits, but you know what I mean, all the bits that sort of triangular bits. Then again go back in with your other one. So you do that for all of them, and as you go round you'll see that there are a couple of bits sticking out the back. I just put them in dark, I think, on some, and light on another. Every flower was slightly different, but it didn't really make any difference. They all just looked as good, really, to be honest. You just need to work one set of flowers at a time. So you need to work on that one, then turn it round and work on the next one. This time I'm going to go in darker, just dark on all these little bits. And then sometimes it means that it's not every other one, it's kind of every one. So you just have to work around it, because flowers aren't perfect, are they? Do you know what I mean? They're not. Sometimes they're exactly symmetrical, sometimes they've got little bits of petals that get knocked off or left behind. So it's whatever you really think, however you want your flowers to be. Who's going to know? It's not like there's a guidebook that says, you know, oh yeah, that flower needs to look exactly like that. I mean, unless you're a master gardener. Now don't be carried away with just going over it all. Do the extra lines. So do just come in and do the extra lines for each flower. And then once you've got the lines in, then go back in and do, if you do light last, don't think you can just go straight over with the light. Go back in, then go back in. Do you see what I mean? So go in once and then go back in again. That will give you like a 3-tier colouring of your flower, because it will end up being just lighter, then slightly darker, and then darker on the sweepy bits as you go down. Okay, so then when it comes to the greenery, I did exactly the same as I did before. So I used my light green for the leaves. Now this one has got like a double stem going up this one, because it goes up to this leaf up here. Okay, so don't forget you've got 4 leaves on this plant, and then you've got one main stem that comes down here, like so. And then you've got one that runs up behind the back here to this one up here. And then you've got those little noddly bits there. See that? So leaf, 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 stem, 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 knobbly bit, knobbly bit. Otherwise you end up forgetting a piece. Then once you've got that done, you're going to layer that on top of that, on top of that. I will come back and I'll finish the other two off camera. You punch out your Just a Note with your classic label. Fits it just perfectly. And then I decided I wanted to add a bit behind, because putting this on here, it kind of got lost. It needed something behind it. So one. Okay, so then once you've got these two little bits here, what we're going to do is we're going to lay these two together with a touch of glue, just along. You just want to glue lightly along one edge of it, so like just under half of it. Hopefully you can see that. And then you want to lay this one on top of it, so that you're continuing the line. So let me explain. What you want to do is you want to basically make it bigger and continue that straight edge there. So you're going to have a long edge and a short edge, a long edge and a short edge. So does that make, hopefully that makes sense. So then that becomes your little extended piece. Okay. Then with some mini dimensionals, we're going to just attach that. Now if you don't have the classic label punch, first of all I would recommend you get it because it's a fab punch. I use it all the time, but if you don't have it, then you could just, you know, do a little cut, just a little slither, and mount it with a piece of card, top and bottom, whichever you find easiest to do. And then I mounted this sort of in the middle so that the line, see, so that that line goes with that edge and that line goes with that edge, and then it doesn't look that crazy to have it extended in that way. So that's going to be your sentiment that's going to pop, and then you literally just stick those two together when it's all coloured, pop that on there and attach that to that. And then I added a few sprinkles of butterflies, again in the Seaside spray. So I think I put a little one up here, a couple down here, and see this bit here that's overlapping, I can, if I wanted to, I could just put a butterfly on it. In fact, I think I will do that so it doesn't show up so much. So we'll do that there, and then once that's coloured in, I'm going to put a butterfly just there so it's not overlapping too much. Okay, so that's that card. All right, put that in its packet so I don't lose it, because I want to put that together in once I've coloured the rest of that in. Okay, next card is Pool Party with a large piece of So Saffron cardstock, large piece Whisper White, and you've got a couple of these. I've given everybody who's been who's had these punched out extras, okay, and I've given those of you who bought the punch just a longer sheet, so you can do two at least, okay. And then the stamp we want for this one is this with the little birdies on. I love this, so cute, little birdies. And again, we're going to stamp onto our postage stamps, like so. And then for the rest of the card, we're stamping one up here and then one down here. Don't worry about making it exact, it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and now we're going to show you what it looks like with different colours on So Saffron. So again, we're taking that colouring on cardstock just that little one step further with different colours on different card. And I just love how these come out. And again, I'm leaving the stems because that's going to be with the darker green. You could do it the other way around if you wanted to. You could have a lighter stem and darker leaves. It's up to you. Don't forget these two over here because they kind of sit on their own. This one. And just be careful not to go too close to the edge of the cardstock, because remember, like the edge of the lines, remember it's more porous, so it will bleed more. Okay, so if you put more colour down, it will bleed more. So it's almost better to leave a little bit of cardstock at the edge, let it dry, see how it goes, than to put too much down and have it bleed. See, like that's just bled on me there. See that? Just a tiny little bit of bleeding just there. So it's just worth just being quite gentle with it. Especially with these stems, almost dotting it around. But it is worth doing because it just gives you that different colour depth, which we like. And then I took my pool party. So here I took my, I think I used this pool party if I remember rightly. Yes, I used my light pool party. Oh no, I didn't. No, I used my dark pool party to start with and then a little bit of light. That's right, I remember now. So dark pool party. It's only been a few days, but you know, I've slept since then. Since I made these. Right, so dark pool party to start just on the tails, oh, and the feathers, and the little, not feathers, they're all feathers, aren't they, on the wings. There we go. Then I used light So Saffron, because on the cardstock it looks darker. Okay, so light So Saffron for the birdie. And then I missed that bit. That needs a bit of dark pool party. And then I use the light to just sort of blend the two. Now, as I said, you won't get an amazing blend, but it will just sort of make it look like it's lighter into darker. So that's your little topper. And then you colour the rest of these exactly the same. So again, leaves. And then you can really see the difference in the colour and also in the texture. Feel how the ink goes onto the cardstock. It almost glides onto the Whisper White here. It's much more grainy going onto the other cardstock, and that helps to show you, you know, and to tell you that one's a much more open fibre, which will lead to bleeding of colour. So if you've ever got cardstock in front of you and you're not quite sure how your blends are going to work on it, take a piece, a separate piece if you can, and just try them out, and you'll feel how they colour. And when you feel how they colour, you'll know whether that cardstock is porous or not. Because if they sort of glide, then they're just soaking in to really short fibres in the cardstock, whereas if it's coarse, and then they'll soak in much more and you've got much more chance of them bleeding. Okay, so we're just going to finish this one off for a second. There we go, like so. And then we'll put on the dark colour. Okay, so once you've got all your leaves done, you're then going to go back in with your dark and do your stalks as before. And on the Whisper White you can really see the difference there coming between the two greens. And in fact it's really vibrant now with these little, it's almost like because they're smaller they show up more. I don't know what it is. So if you want to blend those together a little, then that's also something that you can do. And to do that I would literally just flick the edges where they meet, like so. Just a little bit of flicking, nothing much. There we go. Just sort of helps to sort of move it into the, so it doesn't look like, what you don't want to do is you don't want it to look like it's two distinct colours, you want it to blend. So that's the way to do that. And then again, back in with the pool party, just tail, wings, wings, tail, tail. And these are so little that you can do all of these at the same time, because you're not going to spend 3 hours on one. Then because it's on Whisper White, I actually used the darker So Saffron. So I used the dark So Saffron on this one. I used the light when it was on the cardstock. I'm using the dark when it's on the Whisper White, if that makes sense, because here it's going to be, because it's got the white behind it, it needs to be darker to show up as much. There we go. And then flick. Just a little bit of pool party, to the light pool party, to just bring those two together. So it's like a budgie colours. I like those. Okay, then I'm going to get out this little puppy. This is one of my favourite stamps from this stamp set. As a previous avid actual Royal Mail stamp collector, I love anything that does this sort of mail franking. So you're actually then going to just stamp straight over what you've actually done already. I know you're going to go, no, I'm stamping over my birds, but honestly it looks great. So that's what you want to do. Stamp your little franks over there. Then we'll pop the cardstock onto whoopsie daisy, the So Saffron card stock that's cut for the base measurements. No, we won't use that one because that's not working. We'll use this one. Put the wrong one over there. So, come on. Bit of multi-purpose glue. Pop that down on your So Saffron. So these measurements are just the normal. They're all just the normal. So 9.5 by 13.9, 10 by 14.4, and then they go on the pool party card base, which is just half a A5, burnished, scored and burnished. And then before we put that down, we are going. Have I actually shown you the card? I haven't actually shown you the card, have I? It's marvellous. You're going to love it. So. Can you see what it is yet, sort of? I shouldn't really say that anymore, but it's in my childhood. I can't help it. Anyway, what we're going to do is use the pool party ribbon that you've got. Okay, you've got quite a lot of this. Oops. You want to get it sort of halfway, maybe a little bit higher. So you're going to tuck a piece like this. I love this pool party shimmer. It's from the Whale of a Time suite. Just gorgeous. If you saw any of my stuff last week on the videos, you will have seen that being used a lot. Then we're going to glue this down first. This is the next bit is to glue it down. That's the easiest bit. So chop your piece off that you need to do that, and then you're going to use the other piece in a moment. Stick that down like so. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to, oh, I forgot we need to put just a note on here as well. I did this on the original card as well. You want to stamp this down here, just a note. Pretty much straight, that's not too bad. So if you're a bit worried, do that first. Then we're going to put this on with dimensionals, and because this ribbon is so fine, you can use normal Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay, because you're going to go all the way across the card, like so, across the piece of thingy, the postage stamp. Alrighty. Then you're going to offset that just slightly so it's sort of just in line with the middle of that bird there. Make sure it's straight on your card. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then you're going to tie this in a bow to the side. So put the rest of your ribbon through here, or some of it. You don't need it for the next card. No, this is just for this card. And then you're going to tie yourself a bow. Normally do it this way, don't I? Tie yourself a bow. I'm all fingers and thumbs today. I think I did tie myself a knot because it's much easier when I tie, if you tie a knot. So tie a knot and then tie a bow. There we go, like so. Then sort of adjust as necessary, like so. There we go. Trim off your ends. And there you have a nice bow at the side like that. And then I just finished my card off with some of the Pretty Peacock, because again, all the colours, Pool Party, Pretty Peacock, all looks beautiful together. So a couple of large ones on here, like so, and then an itty bitty one up there. You can put them anywhere, but that's where I put them. Okay, so that's card number 4. No, that's card number 3. Card number 4 is next. Okay, so that's card number 3. So then finally, you're left with a piece of Sahara Sand card base, piece of So Saffron, and 2 postage stamps. You've probably got 3 and lots of Whisper White to stamp with if you in your pack. Okay, so for this one we need the love stamp again. Where's my love stamp? There it is. And the birds. There we go. Right, so here we're going to stamp the love on here, like so. There we go. Don't think there's a right or a wrong way with these stamps when they're punched. Seem to go well either way. And the birds. There we go. And then we're going to get a bit... You might want your stamparatus for this. It's entirely up to you. I did it straight, but it's up to you. We're going to use the other 2. So we're using Sending Love Your Way, and I would recommend that you do this on some grid paper so you can see and practice. Once you've put your sentiment on its block, you can practice how it looks when you stamp it. Yeah, that's because you want to try and get it as straight as you can, sort of over here-ish. Yeah, that'll do. And then we're going to do the happy birthday. Obviously I would do it normally on a smaller block, but there we go. And put this one sort of in between there, like so. Sending love your way, happy birthday. Okay, because I think you can do that with a happy birthday. Put that over there for a second. Then we're going to colour these in exactly the same as we did before, really, except that I just went straight in with yellow for the birds. I didn't add any Pool Party to the birds. They're just yellow canaries. Yellow canaries. Okay, put a bit of shading in. I'm not doing any shading at the moment because I'm just whizzing through these, otherwise you'll be on here for an hour. And then the green, exactly the same. And I think even for this one, yeah, I think I just did them all the same green actually. For once I didn't do the darker stems, so these are just all the same. Just so you can see the difference. Okay, going there, and down here. I always find it handy to turn my turn my colouring around, and that's something that I've probably done it unconsciously or subconsciously and haven't actually told you. But just thinking about it then, I always turn my colouring so that my hand is never over it. And I learnt that at school, because if you are using pencils or any kind of watercolour ink and you do that, if you do that whole leaning over, you can smudge. And whilst you can't do that generally, you can't generally smudge stuff with blends, it still stops you from getting the smudge of the memento, especially if, like today, it's hot this week. So that's why, you know, I might have a bit sweaty hands. You get them a little bit sticky if you're crafting, doing a lot of colouring, and so that's why I always turn the cardstock to me. Plus, if you're left-handed, you turn it the other way, but if you're right-handed, you turn it this way, and it just makes the colouring so much easier. I'm sorry if you can hear screaming on the back of my video here today, but my next door neighbour has got all her grandchildren round, and they've decided today is the day that they just want to scream their heart out all day. So sorry about that if you can hear it. Hopefully you can't hear it, but just if you can, because I can't stop and start it, if you know what I mean. I've got to keep going because I've been here all day, so it's not really much I can do about it. They're right outside my back door, so actually outside my window really, because my windows, our houses are next door to each other. So there's that, and then I did Dark Pool Party for the I think this is a peony, to be honest. You could do this in a beautiful petal pink and match this in with the peonies, or maybe a camellia. It could be either of those really. It's this gorgeous sort of dark sort of puffy flower is the word I'm looking for. Really nice and puffy pom-pom flower. Okay, and then I use the lighter So Saffron to just do the word love here and fill in this. Okay, so that's that. Right, so then we are going to attach our stamps, because in this case they are being stamps. So we're going to glue our stamps flat to our card, like so. And this is why I had you stamp, you know, quite a way down your card, down here, okay, because you didn't want it to be right next to that. These are quite big stamps. And come across here, like so. And then again, once you've once you've stuck your stamped images down, then back in with your special delivery, and they don't make it the right way round, yeah. So they're just going to stamp which way they want to, but you can always make sure that your Stampin' deliveries, or special delivery rather, is going in the right direction. And then we just attach that straight onto this, and it looks like an envelope. So this was kind of the card I really wanted to do, was to make it look like an envelope with this set to start off with, and then all the others kind of flowed from this one, so I thought I would save this one to the last, and you can see how they all came together. So I went ahead and finished this one with its little extra butterfly just here. So now you can see all of them. So here's my 4. Obviously I've done 2 of each. I did actually do another one of this, which was like this. So it had a pool party base, same as this, but then it had this granny apple green layer and these flowers. But I thought, well, we've done quite a lot of these flowers on this one, so that's why I ended up switching it out for the birds, because there was quite a lot of flowers there. But it looks just as pretty, I think, with the birds or with the flowers, so you can choose whichever you feel like and expand upon these as you wish. There's loads of lovely ideas for this in the catalogue as well, both with the actual stamp set, but also using the the other birds from Free as a Bird stamps and stamping them and then punching it out with the punch. I think it's a great little set, and there's a lovely set coming up in the Christmas catalogue which also works well with this punch, so you know, coordination coming around as ever. So thanks ever so much for watching. This is your July blends class. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please tell everybody, and if you have enjoyed it, tell everyone, and hopefully they'll come back, they'll come along to the next one too. And yeah, I think it's a good one. Next month we're doing Night of Navy and Purple Posy, and you will need the Nothing's Better Than, or you will need a stamp set that's about the same size. So I could tell you, you could use the zebras, you could use the Hippo Happiness, you could use the little flower out of one of the daisies or something like that. There's quite a lot you can use, but you're going to be using Night of Navy and Purple Posy as your colours. So anything that kind of matches with that would be good. So obviously not faces, because you can't really do faces in Purple Posy. Well, you could, I suppose, for aliens, but you know. So yeah, so that's next month's class, and you need to book in by the 15th of August to be on that one. So thanks ever so much for watching, everyone. Have a lovely month, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye.